There are usually two approaches for those who are approaching agriculture marketing, okay, in the ARS exam and other things. One is you have to go through all the objectives, including fill in the blanks and match the following in the Nirmal Ravi Kumar book, okay. Other thing is other approach which people are using is reading complete Acharya and Agarwal book. This option is complete reading. It is not so effective because it has so much of matter. The page is different, matter is different. Okay, every line is a matter here. Then you can't remember everything. You'll mess up. So what you have to do? You have to do an optimal combination. Read important chapters of this book, and complete objectives from the Nirmal Ravi book. Okay, complete objectives. That should be good for the marketing portion. Understood? For example, if you see, there are two chapters now. One is problems in agriculture marketing, and the second one is this one, suggestions to improve agriculture marketing. They are not very big, very huge important chapters. Okay, not from objective point of view. Subjective, yes. Subjective, they will be taking one full portion of 10-15 marks, but not in objective. So what you have to remember that okay, large numbers of million will be there. Small and scattered holdings is there. Most of the farmers go for forced sale, that is distressed sale. Technological problems will be there, poor handling and packing, lack of standardization and grading, inadequate storage capacity, okay, malpractices, different charges, lack of market information, okay. Again, a lack of farmers organization, inadequate means of transport. All these are like self-explanatory. Okay, they are not good questions from point of MCQ. Right? Understanding what I'm telling?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But there are certain important points that is in upcoming chapters. Okay. For example, if you see this chapter, now this chapter has so many acts and so many important committees. It is very, very important from exam point of view. Especially in this ARS prelims exam, they ask 2 to 3 MCQs from this. Okay. And 2 to 3 MCQs are very much deciding. So you have to see because regulated market is an important term. Okay. So 1 second. Actually, my one friend has marriage. He sent invitation card. I kept Sharath saying, don't keep now only. He wants to tell everyone and then he wants me to keep. So sorry for the disturbance. What I was telling is regulated market. This is very important. All the acts are important. Which is the first regulated market? That question is important. Okay. And what are the characteristic features of regulated market? That is important. For example, if you see regulated market here, okay. If you see regulated market, this question is important. First regulated market is Karanjia Cotton Market, 1886, Hyderabad. Next, first legislation, where are cotton grain markets are. Okay. Hmm? This is important. Then when did the Bombay Cotton Market Act came? 1927. But more than this, these two are very important. Okay, first regulated market, Karanjia Cotton Market, and first act, Berar Cotton Market. Only good thing is in both cotton is there. Okay, one is 1886, other is 1897. Understood? Then You need not to read these silent features. Okay, that is not important. Then you have Royal Commission of Agriculture 1928, which gave suggestion for regulation of means establishment of regulated market. So which commission gave establishment recommendation is Royal Commission on Agriculture 1928. Okay, that is one MCQ. Then among these, if you see, okay, they will ask like DMI is there. DMI is important point. It came in 1935. Faridabad, I think it's headquarters. Okay, that's important here. Management of regulated market, functions of marketing committee. But what is important is these characteristics of regulated market as well. Okay, this is another chapter. Characteristics of regulated market is very important. Okay, that will be one good question. Standardizing grading, we have explained. Standardization is setting of different standards so that you can classify the goods and you can improve their prices. But grading is just sorting it out according to the pre-specified standards. Now, who takes care of this grading and marking in India? The most important, or you can say a flagship scheme is AGMARK scheme in 1937. You have to be thorough with this particular scheme. AGMARK scheme, it is enforced by DMI. Okay, it is inscribed vertically and horizontally and rising sun on one side. Okay, you have to remember AGMARK, you have to remember ECOMARK and the HACCP. Okay, these are very important. Okay, only those traders are willing to possess. Okay, this is not a point. But what is AGMARK? When it came, who enforces it? How does it look? And for what it is given? For what type of things? Like food grains. It is given for food grains. Okay. The quality of the food grain reference size, shape, variety, color. So all is related to food grains. But the Export Act enacted in 1963 export. Okay. So this is our part. Only from this paragraph you have to take this AGMARK scheme. Okay. Use AGMARK, advertisements are issued. Paper campaign. Okay. So what is the question from AGMARK? Who enforces it? For what products it is used? When it came into process? And the rising sun. That you remember that is there in the logo. Okay. Standard Weights Act came in 1939. Okay, that is important. Then Weights and Measures came in 1958. I'm telling you that yesterday's course and this thing, they will help you. This will become a hell lot of your life. Remember all these things. But I remember them very easily because I remember that standard map and measures life. Standard map measures life, not wife. Sorry, life. Okay. Standard map measures life. See, 5-8. Okay, it is done 1958. Then map 1939. Because the only difference between these two is it has measures. Standard weights is also here. Okay. Then you have game, metric game. And what is not a game? Yesterday I told.
NCDC, sir.
Yes, become a DC is not a game. NC. Very good. So remember like this. Whenever 63 will come, metric game. When you are in 10th standard, you are not allowed to play games. Okay. Then NCDC. Similarly, standard maps make life measures life. Just remember that it is like even if you don't by heart it, you try to remember. See, there will be 1939, 1946, 1958, 1963. Just try to make the last words map. Is map connected or is other things connected? Then suddenly you remember. Okay, standard map measures life. So because options are given there, you have chance of guessing it. Okay, at least for guessing, you should know nearest year at least. Handling and packing. Okay, especially for vegetables, it is used. Storage facility, not same point. Then comes Central Warehousing Committee, Central Warehouse Corporation, State Warehouse Corporation, who gave them. Okay. So need for establishment of license warehouse was given by again Royal Commission of Agriculture. Okay. Specific committee was made by 1945 Agriculture Finance Subcommittee by Gargill. Subcommittee term is usually rare. Okay. So it was 1944, but the recommendations came in 1945. All India Agriculture Survey Committee. People will go in lorry for survey, LR 54. Okay. The Parliament had made Agriculture Produce Corporation Act 1956. LG. Okay, LG TV, I always feel that it is in corporation. Okay. LG TV, big TV. I usually in my home we had a big LG TV. Because it was not working, I used to feel like throwing it in. Where was a corporation? So remember this: 56 and 57 are two important years. One is the year for State Warehouse Corporation, and one is the year for Central Warehouse Corporation. Okay. So that you have to remember. Central Warehouse Corporation holds 50% of the shares. And okay, NCDC came here, 1963. Rural Godown Scheme is there. That is not important. I never heard. Even today only I came to know about this. That's not important. Okay. NCDC is enough. These are not important because it is not subjective paper. It's only objective paper. Okay. Only that is in CWC, 50% shares it will take off State Warehouse Corporation. In Central Warehouse Corporation, 50% shares taken by the government. Okay. Central government subscribes for 40% of its shares, and 60% of the shares are shared by scheduled bank and all. Remember, in CWC, 50% share is of the government, and in SWC, 50% share is of CWC. Okay. Warehouse receipt. In warehouse receipt, 2 points are important. One is you can get loan against warehouse receipt. Second, you can get loan up to the tune of 75% in the warehouse receipt. Okay. Storage charge will be very less. Insurance you have to do. And when I come for insurance, you remember that you should try to read that Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Okay. Premium rates, what risk it will cover, what risk it will not cover, what are main benefits out of it. Okay. Like premium rate is 1.5%, 2%, and 5% for Rabi, Kharif, and horticulture crops. Second, it has one premium rate throughout the nation. Third, it includes something which is not included by other insurance. That is, it includes post-harvest losses. It includes that when the post-harvest, you have to tie it and keep. If you keep it openly, then they will not include it. Okay. They will include local calamities also. Then what is not included? Preventable risk, like fire, theft, and all, which can be prevented. That is not included. And post-harvest loss after 2 weeks or 15 days is not included. Okay. And important characteristic feature of Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana is it uses remote sensing data to collect the data. Okay. And it uses both individual approach and area approach. Individual approach it will use for the local hazards and local calamities, and mostly it will use area approach for the major losses. Fine. So you Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana read properly. Market information. I told you market information has three things: market news and market intelligence, and as added by Ganesha, it also has market outlook. So market news is present, market intelligence is of past, and market outlook is of future. Okay. How I remember market intelligence past is news is present, outlook is future. So remaining is intelligence, that is past. Okay. Like that I remember. Cooperative marketing is important, but we already read it. Cooperative, yesterday I told a few things. Can anyone tell what are the three important names with cooperative?
Orange Blanket,
Okay, next.
Rochdale,
Next. Next. One more important characteristic of
Frederick
person.
Nicholson.
Frederick.
Yes, and
Frederick Nicholson. What Plunkett gave? Three maxims.
Axioms.
What is the code word for three maxims?
Football.
Okay, what is the football?
Better
Farming.
farming, better living.
Farming, business, living.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, then what roles are they give?
Principles of
Principles.
corporate.
How many? What is the third word?
DDEHNPSSTV.
Okay. Then this is democratic, distribution of profits, education, honorary service, neutrality, publicity, social service, self-help and mutual help, thrift and voluntary. Okay. I told myself with the confidence that you all have understood this. Your friend, what is he? Why are you should remember this?
Father of cooperation.
Father of cooperatives, not cooperation, cooperatives. Okay. Fine. Which is the model which he was about to study?
Fine
Fine
reference.
reference.
Reflection model. Okay. So it is helping now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So these things you can just go to above on like quick. Okay. Cold storage is important. Okay, this thing. First cold storage was in Kolkata and I think it was on potato. Okay. Here it is there. Potato was the main product. First cold storage was in 1892. It was potato because if you see the year is 1892. 9 is P. 3 is for potato. Okay. So I remember that this is from Kolkata. Some things I remember, something the product if I won't remember, then I made that clue of remaining potato like that. Okay. Marketing channel. Here, this is not so important topic, especially not at least for JRF. One only thing is you have a broader outlook that for fruits, what will be marketing channel? For other things, what will be marketing channel? What is important is marketing cost and marketing margin. That is important concept. Okay. You have to remember what is marketing cost, what are different measures of marketing cost, and margin, what are different measures of marketing margin. Okay. So there are these two are important things, concurrent and lag. In that, one word is important. One word. That is, at a given point of time, successive stages of marketing at a given point of time. If you do, that is concurrent margin. But if you take the lagged margin, then it is at different points of time. That is, you buy it now and you sell it in future. So there are two different points of time. Okay. Here it is there. Lagged margin indicates the difference of price used by agency. The one paid by same agency purchasing equivalent commodity. Okay, time lag. Here one word is there. Okay. But the time lag is not so much clear. The thing is that here both is at the time T. You can't imagine. Okay, buying and selling. Buying and selling, both is at T. But here buying is at T and selling it at T plus 1. So there are two different point of time. This is lagged margin. Concurrent means at given point of time. This is the main difference. Okay. Marketing channels are not so important. Okay. Even till today, I haven't gone to this. So you need not to go from page to page. Okay. Prices. Now, what you have to see in agriculture prices? Okay. You have to see different prices. Like we have to see what is MSP, what is FRP, what is issue price, what is procurement price, what is normal price, other name for normal prices, market price. Okay, there's one more procurement issue. Okay, market price here. I think okay, 5 prices came. Okay, Then from how many crops MSP is given? CACP recommends for 22 crops, and for 2 crops government itself will tell, that is Toria and another is Copra I think. Okay, those two, and 1 crop has FRP, that is sugarcane. So totally 25 crops have administered prices. 25 crops have administered prices. 24 crops have MSP. 22 crops have MSP announced by CACP. So don't tell question was wrong. You did not understand the question. That is important. Okay. So don't tell, say in one book it is given 25, one book. No. Every book is given correct answer. Only thing is either they understood wrong or you have read it wrong. So 25 is administered prices. 24 is by MS. 24 crops have MSP. In that 22 is announced by CACP. Understood? Am I clear?
Sir.
Yeah. So these things are not so important, but those are preparing for SRF and net, this thing is important. Okay. What are different types of price instability? Short term, intra-year, inter-year. This inter-year is also called cyclical. Intra-year is called seasonal. Short term is like instantaneous or erroneous, they will tell. Long term is having trend. Okay. These are 4. So you should remember cyclical and seasonal. Cyclical is more than a year. Seasonal is less than a year. Yeah, this are not so important. Okay. Cobb model is important. Cobb model will tell simple thing that there is a certain pattern of cycle which says that the effect of price change falls on the production of commodity with one time lag. This is book language. Now I will tell you in easy language. It tells that production means what? Supply. Okay. Supply comes from area. If more area is under a crop, it means more supply, no? So area under a crop, say X, is the function of price of X in previous year. Area under the crop in present year is function of price and price of that crop in previous year. This area will lead to supply will lead to production, or area will directly lead to production. Understood? This is what we call Cobb model. Now what you have to remember is they are having different cycles, oscillating cycles, replacing cycles, continuous cycles. There are 3-4 cycles. I think it should be there here. Yes, it is here. This is convergent cycle, this is divergent cycle, and this is perpetual cycle. Perpetual means continuous. Okay, what you have to remember is what causes convergent or what causes divergent. Any one you remember. Okay, I always remember divergent Cobb model. Why? Because it is asked so many times. What are the questions from divergent model? That it is also called as exploitative, exploding or exploitative. Okay, it is assumed that initial and all. This is the important. The absolute slope of demand curve is greater than the slope of supply curve. Okay, when the slope of demand curve is greater than slope of supply curve, then what you get is divergent. Now you will come to know why sir is learning divergent. Divergent D is there, and here D is greater. Slope of D. But now there is one more question they will ask, that is based on elasticity. Okay, now this you have to understand very much properly. You should not confuse it. Now, you have two curves. This is a demand curve. This is also a demand curve. Slope is more, I'll tell 1 and 2, okay? For which demand curve slope is more?
1.
For 1, slope is more. And elasticity is more for which curve?
Second.
Here, elasticity is more. It means if slope is more, it is relatively less elastic. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, remember this thing. Divergent model means demand is greater than supply. What is demand is greater? Slope of demand. Or we say, in other words, oh, sorry. I cannot come back. Okay, divergent means slope of demand is greater than slope of supply, and then it means that the elasticity of demand is less than elasticity of supply. If you remember this point, then Cobb model is Cobb model is an important model. Okay, they will ask an exam. So Cobb model tells that the production of a particular crop in this year is a function of its price in previous year. Then it shows pattern of cycles. There are 3: convergent, divergent, and perpetual. Okay, divergent is also called explosive, and convergence I call like something like depression or some word will come. Okay, in chill like convergence is called depressing also, I think. That is which, and perpetual. Here it will be equal. So in these two we have to study. So remember one thing, you remember other thing. So when slope of demand is more than slope of supply, we get divergent cycles. Clearly ulta of this, okay? Elasticity of demand should be less than elasticity of slope. Understanding this? So the question will be, if elasticity of demand is greater than elasticity of supply, which kind of model you get? Divergent Cobb model, convergent Cobb model, perpetual Cobb model, none of the above. What is the answer?
Convergent.
Convergent.
So all the shouting, pain. The pain, good, pleasure, okay? Pain pleasure principle was given by, that is not important for you. For ARS net people, remember, pain pleasure principle was given by Bain. Okay? Because pain and Bain are matching together. This all you need not to see because I explained you. You know, I read this 5-6 times, then I understood. But you people can easily understand, okay? This I told that trend and all. It is not useful for JRF. SRF I told trend is a long term. Seasonal means less than 1 year. Cyclical means more than 1 year. There are 2 other things, instantaneous and erroneous. When you know which factor is causing the thing, it is instantaneous. When you don't know which factor is causing the instability, then that is erroneous. Okay. Price forecasting is not so important for you. Actually, this complete thing is for marketing. We are agriculture economists. No, we need not know so much of marketing. This arch-gauge model is useful, but not for us. Okay. That's why I told you better you also refer all the questions from that book, Nirmal Rai Kumar book. So any questions you have till now?